steal from the Empire? You just act like you belong.
Love it.
Awesome. What's up, Force family? Welcome back to the Star Wars Guys podcast. We're so glad you're here to join us. We are pumped to talk about, what's that show called again? Oh, yeah. Andor.
Visions?
Or Andor.
Yeah. As Luthen.
Cassian Andor.
Cassian Andor.
It's just also, it's such a, it's like
Cassian Andor.
It's almost
Cassian
like a
Andor.
Nick Nolte mixed with, I mean, obviously it's Stellan Skarsgård, but it's such a, it's a stew of language that comes out as Cassian Andor, but it's Cassian Andor. It's like
Cassian
multiple guttural sounds.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
Either way you say it, I'm loving it so far.
I love
Oh,
it.
man.
We're going to talk about all things Andor.
Andor, yeah, we're
Oh.
kicking off our Andor review, the
Andor
Andor
review.
review, where every week we'll be breaking down the episodes. 3 of which we get to dive into tonight, the premiere. 3 episodes.
Ooh.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
We should say, as we like to mention with a lot of these reviews, that if you have not watched the episodes,
What are you doing?
Yeah. What happened
Who
in the
are
last 10 hours?
Fake fan. Fake.
fan. Fan.
you went a little Italian almost. You went
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
How you doing?
you went Sebastian Maniscalco.
Sebastian.
What are you doing? What are you doing? If you
Sebastian.
don't like the episode, what are you doing?
Like,
I love it. This is
What
going
are
to
you
be
doing?
great. But make sure you watch the episodes before you listen to
Because
this.
we're going to talk about
We're talking spoiler heavy stuff.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
what actually happened.
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Yeah. I want to kick off before we start.
Wow.
This is the
greedy,
start.
this guy.
Uncle was not here last week,
Right?
Oh, yeah.
so I want to pass the mic. I don't have to pass the mic. We each have mics. But
the mic.
I would like, Uncle, I know that this, we have said before on the podcast, I know you've expressed that as far as time periods go, you love a good rebellion versus the Empire. That's kind of where a lot of times your heart lies. So just wondering, first thoughts, overall thoughts before we dive into the
And you just finished it.
nitty gritty.
Just finished it.
Before we dive into nitty gritty, and there's an emphasis on gritty with this show.
Mm.
A little bit of nitty thrown in.
A little bit of nitty. A little bit nitty. Nitty here, nitty there.
I loved the part that Cassian
Cassian Andor.
the Cassian was gonna sell to Luthen.
Yeah.
It just looks like you pulled it right off the
Oh,
Death Star.
yeah.
It's
It
got
looked-
the black with
Still squeaky clean.
it's like 1970s version
Did it
of
not look like
future tech,
right off
past
the
tech?
Death Star and
Oh,
also
man.
part off of Vader's chest? or
Vader's chest with
something,
the
right? It was
black
like-
and the red button.
Loved it.
Right? It
Like,
just
yeah.
felt so good. And when he comes onto that crashed ship
yeah.
and he's tearing it apart, it's like I feel like I'm looking at the old stuff.
Love it.
So awesome. We haven't gotten Stormtroopers
So
yet,
good.
No.
but
and
it
we know
totally
it's
is
coming.
my favorite
Yeah.
vibe, and this has been awesome. It's been so good. And Fallen Order, I felt that like on
Yes.
that
Yeah.
the planet. It looks a
Uh-huh.
lot like
You're
Fallen
right.
Order.
I didn't even think about
Felt-
that.
I was
yeah.
like, that feels just like that.
Just like
with the junkyard
the
stuff.
junkyard, the ship wreckage. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's been
Yeah.
great.
I thought
Love it.
Love
I
it.
thought it felt. It's funny. I and that sort of feels original. It's obviously we're getting closer to
It does.
it's the Empire,
Right.
the time of all this taking place. But
Yep.
when he's walking through the like dark alley, and now there's neon lights and there's people in like
yeah.
the bubbles, I was like,
yeah.
now that kind of makes me feel a little prequel-ish. I
Right.
was like, that kind of seems like a little.
It
Mhm.
was
Kind of took me back a little bit to the prequel-ish
Yeah.
era.
It felt
like,
a little
before really going all in on the Empire.
a little Blade Runner-y. Like
sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah,
I
it
thought
did.
it was this great mix of it did give some prequel vibes, but it was also like this especially that felt very sci-fi.
Yeah, it
It
did.
reminded
It
me
did.
of like I'm going through my head of like some old Arnold movies, some old Harrison
Yeah,
Ford
and it was-
movies. That's why I
was-
say
right.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
But it very much felt like that mix of the gritty with
Yeah.
also, like you said, like the person like dancing in like a bubble or something. You're like, whoa, what is that?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the neon light stuff.
It was
for
Kenobi
sure.
on the run with the neon.
Yeah, it was-
whatever planet that was, and
Yeah. Overall thoughts? Before we dive into even the
Overall
specifics, but
thoughts?
overall thoughts,
I
overall
mean-
feeling as far as did you like it? Did you love it? Stuff you enjoy?
want
Stuff
some
you
more
struggled
of it.
with?
We're gonna
overall,
get some more.
yeah, whether you like it or not, we're getting
gonna
more.
get some more.
Overall thoughts, I loved it. I loved it. I do understand, and we'll get into some of this. why they did the 3-episode
Oh yeah.
premiere.
Yeah.
It felt
Absolutely.
like that sort of 3-episode, like all just kind of kind of like wrapped up a little bit of the story with the
Mhm.
flashbacks.
It was a continuous arc. for
With the
sure.
flashbacks and stuff. It seemed like that kind of concluded. It's like, okay, we're young Cassian now. It's like, oh, that's how his journey began.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, now we're kicking off for the rest of the show.
It connected
Kind
him
of
to where
felt
he is,
like
and
that.
it got him to where he's
Right.
going. Yeah.
So I get that. So it makes I like that they did the 3-episode thing. I can't wait for the next episode. So that kind of makes sense. I could see why if they did just one episode, people may look at that and be a little disappointed or be like, I feel like we didn't get a whole lot. Like, so I like the idea that they did this and kind of gave a good amount up front and told that complete arc on that part. Overall, though, I loved it.
Yeah. Sounds like we're all in
I love the
agreement here.
character development. Like,
Oh yeah, we'll get into all that for sure. I think that, man, across the board, and we'll get into specifics. I think the writing is fantastic.
Mhm.
The dialogue is so. I'm a big fan of Mando. I'm a big fan of Obi-Wan. I'm a big fan even of Book of Boba Fett, which I think now has become maybe the most popular or the most common answer of people saying like, that's kind of the one that maybe people criticize a little bit more than some of the others.
Yeah.
This so far, I know we're only 3 episodes in,
yeah.
has probably my favorite. I will say Obi-Wan had some really good dialogue that I loved, and a lot of that was emotional dialogue of like characters that I already had a previous attachment to.
Yeah.
So a lot of the dialogue that I loved in Obi-Wan was between Leia and Obi-Wan, or Leia and Bail, and a lot of these like really important themes and stuff that I really love.
Yep.
The writing is really sharp on this in Andor so far, and we'll get to the one particular scene, but that scene where Stellan Skarsgård, when Luthen is there and having his secret meetup with Cassian,
Yeah.
and then Luthen kind of finally reveals like, yeah, I know everything about you, and starts talking to and trying to howl.
Why
like,
he's really there.
I want the part if
Yeah.
that's all I can get, but
I want
you
the
know,
whole
don't
package.
you want it?
I
Yeah,
want
don't
the
I
guy.
want the
Yeah.
guy. That's why he's asking.
You're special.
I want to
yeah.
know how you got the part. That's
Mhm.
what I'm interested in. Is that
Yeah.
it's the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
Don't you want to fight these guys for real? Yeah.
Yeah, but the writing, the dialogue was so good. The acting is so good. I love me some
Cassian.
Imperial officers,
Cassian
and
in
even
there.
though we haven't had like Imperial officers,
You can
in
see
the
them morphing
traditional
into that.
sense
The corp-
yet, these are sects. Like these
Yeah.
are different
The
groups
corporate-
and stuff
Yeah.
that are. These are extensions of the Empire. Like we got essentially like a, because you don't think of Imperial officers as like boots on the ground police force. They're the men in the chair upstairs who are
Right.
calling the shots. These were a lot more of like the policing on the ground type of these different
Yeah.
corporations.
Mhm.
But I also loved some of the big wigs of like the corporations, like the one guy who has like the mustache and who's like, well, basically we should just forget about this, sweep this under the rug. They they got in trouble. They crossed
gonna make
hairs.
us look bad. It's a
trying to
lot
make
of
us look
extra
bad.
work. Let's
This
move
is what
on.
we do. By the way, don't
Yeah.
scuff up my desk with your dirty boots while I'm gone or something.
Yeah.
He's out of here. And then
Yeah.
the younger guy is like, I can't do
This
that.
Yeah. This isn't right.
But some of just even from the opening scene, I mean, if we're talking overall, like obviously the tone, I think, is something that a lot of people have, I think, accurately commented on. It immediately feels, and I want to say this correctly because I think that sometimes people can use. I heard someone else say this earlier today, and I completely agree with it. I love Andor so much so far. We've only 3 episodes in.
Mhm.
I think sometimes I see a review or a tweet or a message, and I'm like, I agree with the very first thing that they say or the first half, but then they use it to like trash a different show. Or like, because I've heard some people saying like, I
Oh.
love Andor so much.
Because it's better
This is
than
finally the Star Wars
Oh.
that we've always
Yeah.
wanted. Way better than Boba Fett. And I'm like, oh, I was with you at the beginning.
Right,
I
no,
lost you at
right.
the end there.
Yeah.
I don't think that all Star Wars has to be dark and gritty. I think that the dark and gritty of this I love. I do love that it feels different. But I think the reason I like that it feels different is because we also have Mando and
Exactly.
Boba
yeah.
Fett and
I like that it feels different in a sense that not to take away from the other stuff that
Some
I don't
people-
want
yeah.
that. It's
Some
just
people-
I like a variety of themes.
Some people that I don't agree with would suggest almost like it was an error to do the other different tonal shows. This is how I had always wanted it to be, where it's like, no, it's Star Wars has always had a mixture of it. The prequels have, I mean, Revenge of the Sith goes straight from some of the goofiest stuff you've seen in Attack of the Clones to the darkest Star Wars movie we've ever seen in Revenge of the Sith. And even within the same movie, there's jokey stuff. Anakin and Obi-Wan have some snark, and then there's also like Anakin slaughtering younglings, and it goes super dark. Like there's always been a more adult-themed stuff, but this is a little more on the nose with like there's a little bit of some language in there. There's a little bit of I mean, the opening scene is essentially him looking for his sister in what we think is like a brothel,
right?
Which you never thought you'd probably see a scene like that in Star Wars, but I love that it's different because I just want to make a point of I like that we're getting something that's different because I also enjoy those other things. And like we said
it's just
before,
a good switch up.
Especially after Book of Boba Fett, because I do think that the tone of Book of Boba Fett was similar to Mando, but maybe even like a little bit goofier in some. But it's shot and feels like Mando as far as you can tell. It's the same showrunners, it's the same creators.
Yeah.
Then Obi-Wan felt different than those two.
Yeah.
Then this felt very different from all of that, but I really, really am enjoying it.
It's like,
I mean, it's a long-winded answer
it's
saying I like the differences, with also being careful to say that doesn't mean I didn't like the other stuff. I love the other stuff,
right?
But I'm so glad that we have the other stuff, and now we have this. So I have been excited to see something like this as well.
It's like I have a favorite meal. I don't want to eat it every day.
Don't want to eat every day, and
just
also
because I switch it up and I enjoy eating a different meal doesn't mean the other one's still not my favorite or I don't like it.
Chick-fil-A's
it's just
great.
a good switch.
Just because I'm so looking
pizza,
forward.
Yeah.
Just because I finally got that pizza I really wanted doesn't mean that I made a wrong decision in getting a great burger the day before.
No, not at all. And nor does it make the pizza worse.
Doesn't make the pizza any worse, and
I don't know.
Nor does it mean that the person who made the pizza and the person who made we now have to choose who is the better chef. Well, they work for different restaurants. The Burger King employee who
Let's carry this farther. Nor do we need to tell everybody that that burger was better because the pizza was terrible yesterday. You can enjoy that in your own brain.
Eat that in your car. Throw away the trash.
I'm a little hopped up on Red Bull, so I'm a little loaded up, but
I like that
in a good way. But I was laughing when you said, "Finally, this is a Star Wars we've been waiting for." And I thought, aren't you special? Because my 6-year-old hasn't been waiting for this one.
No, not at all.
Right.
Exactly.
So
no.
The target audience has not been waiting for this one.
No, it's a different
right?
It's a different thing.
So we're watching it. He's sitting there with me, and I read about it. I was like, oh, it's probably going to be subtle. The first thing we see is a holographic dancing, and then the people in the windows.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're selling more than
right
for sure
clothing. And he's like,
they're asking what type of woman do you
he's like, what are those bubbles? It's like, oh, it's like a show. I mean, all of a sudden, I'm thinking, what are we? And
yeah.
So I'm loving the show.
Yeah.
But for me to presume,
for sure,
finally they got it right is totally off the mark.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe they now have something that speaks to your sensibility.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's finally right. It just means now they've got something a little bit more. Still not,
and based off what they've
still not TV mature, but
it's TV
and how
14.
they've been promoted.
It's
right.
And
how
how
got
they've
some
been
language. You've got, I mean, even just, to get obviously this is spoiler heavy, but even to get into specifics, even though I knew nothing was going to happen, it is a Star Wars.
Exactly.
The moment when Bix comes in and like opens her jacket, revealing wise, I went like, "Whoa!" I almost was like, "That was a presentation we've never seen Star Wars." Exactly. That's not something we've seen before. And again, that doesn't mean like, "Oh, I've always wanted to see that." That's not it at all. But it is like there are different things. If there's the Star Wars stew of the original A New Hope or even the original trilogy,
right?
There have always been what I like so far of what we got with the Disney Plus shows is like different creators have come in, Favreau starting it off and going like, this is one of the things that I was always drawn to.
Exactly.
And there's so many different things there, but he pulls this out and goes, I want to really highlight this part of it. I've always liked the Western. His big thing is the Western samurai.
Right.
Like he's like, those are the themes that I connected with. So I want to. He was a big Boba Fett fan growing up. So and that's how we get the Mando and Boba Fett stuff. And then Deborah Chow talks about how she talks a lot more about loving the prequels and how she's really attached to the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi for a long time and how she's attached and was thought of the Jedi and all of this stuff was something she always, and so she does that. But it's interesting that people forget that in A New Hope, it has always the mixture of, at the same time, of 3PO's kicking R2 and it's this whole comedy routine between them. And then 10 minutes later, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are roasting over an open fire.
Right.
Like it immediately goes like they're literally burnt to a crisp. It goes very dark, and then there's this, and then Leia's entire planet is destroyed.
Cover their eyes on that part.
Yeah.
And then Leia's planet's destroyed, and then they talk about, and then now we're back into a different scene where Chewie's threatening, Han's warning 3PO that his arm's gonna get ripped off by Chewbacca. Like there's always a funny this. And if you focus,
entire planet.
This is one where it just seems like it's probably going to have less of the jokey. Like there's still some comedic moments in there,
right?
But it's definitely a darker.
And I love it. I love it. And if we're getting a little bit on the how people are reacting, but if you are one that's saying finally they get it right, my brain says this may be the farthest removed from George Lucas's idea of Star Wars. It may be the most remote version of Star Wars from what George Lucas envisioned it to be, which is okay because it's not his anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just know, I don't know that he would watch it and go, "Oh man, yeah, this is what I wanted to do." Doesn't feel that way.
He seems more diving into the wills and
exactly
because
even the vibe of it and the more adult nature of it and the lack of certain elements, the things that appeal to children specifically. Those elements he always had.
Was there any
George is the person who to this day says his favorite character is Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
And we always make the joke of his quote of Jar Jar's the key to all this. He's the secret to all this.
Well, my kids would have said that up until they're about 10 years old. And they probably still think it, but they won't admit it, right? But
exactly
because it's part of what they grew up on.
I mean, was there any jokes?
I don't think so.
I don't.
They had one where the thing peed on B2.
Yeah. And they had a little bit of I
love that. And then we quickly moved to naked people in brothels. But the first part was hilarious.
You thought you'd actually switch to HBO real quick, and he
laughed out loud. With that part.
But I mean, really, aside from that, I don't remember any verbal joke or anything.
No, some of this is, and again, I don't want this to sound like we're ragging on the show because we love the show, love it, but it's definitely less of this side of Star Wars, and now we're pressing and like you said, we're actually not just staying within the confines of kind of like George Lucas did all this stuff in here, and now we're just kind of highlighting the top. It's kind of like we're highlighting the top and pushing the envelope further than George did on these things.
I mean, they're definitely going off the time period and the tone of the Empire, and taking that as the tone and the theme of the whole thing, which makes sense.
Absolutely.
Makes total sense.
And I will say, as Tony Gilroy is responsible for the final product of Rogue One, he is the one who is show running and creating this, and he's the one who directed Bourne Legacy, so he's always had his foot in the spy thriller. This feels like that.
Right,
it definitely feels the most like Rogue One, which is what we expected.
It feels
Rogue
very
One
Rogue One.
feels darker. This feels at least as dark, maybe even pushing it a little bit more with a little bit of maybe like the language and stuff, the brothel. But I do think when people talk about this is getting us back to the original trilogy, I think that it gets us back to, like, not just gets us back. That might be the wrong phrase because that makes it sound like I agree that it's gone off course somewhere. I don't. I think that other people have highlighted different parts of the formula.
Right.
But people do forget, Uncle, you were the only one of us three who saw A New Hope in theaters when it came out.
Yep.
One of the biggest reasons why Star Wars. There's a number of reasons why Star Wars became this global phenomenon. But if you read like early reviews of Star Wars, one of the things that they talked about was the lighthearted, fun, adventure serial, this fun
Absolutely.
nature.
Hey, what's that flashing?
So it's funny,
Absolutely.
like I don't think there's anything we've seen so far that's lighthearted about
Not at all.
Andor, as
No,
much as
no,
I
no.
love it. So I don't think this is just the kind of the final point of like anyone who says finally this is getting back to what George intended. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that there are elements for sure. I think there's a lot in this show that is like classic Star Wars. There's a lot there.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of like Tony Gilroy going, but I also love when I did the Jason Bourne stuff.
Yeah.
Or like some other people that are like, but maybe I also was influenced by Blade Runner. I was influeed by some of these other things that are, I mean, going back to some of those 80s Arnold and Stallone action movies that are sci-fi action movies,
Yeah.
Dread, those types of things are, most of them, a lot of people forget, a lot of them are rated R. Like, so there is a little bit of that
They were.
feeling of like,
Right.
it's this
Yeah.
action sci-fi adventure that also feels maybe more adult, like some of the movies maybe he grew up on or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it really is just a matter of the time period, the tone of getting you to feel what that would be like if you were dropped in that scenario on the run like he is, and how you deal with seeing the things that are going on and not just complying and wanting to make your own path, but also have the conflict of doing what's right. And
Or not.
Oh,
or not, and seriously,
That's
or
the
not,
thing.
and struggle with
Right.
like he is, like
Absolutely.
I messed up.
Right.
How
I
about
messed
that
up.
opening scene we're talking about? Like
Right.
after the whole like trying to find his sister, all this, he ends up
He's
essentially the
what
guys.
the whole time everyone's like, what did you do? Like
Mhm.
everyone that knew him and knew they were after him, but they're like, Cass, like what did you do? What did he
Yeah.
do?
well, because like he accidentally kills the one guy.
Yeah.
Because they're, and again, in his defense, he's jumped by them
yeah,
at gunpoint.
Clearly, there. Yeah.
But then he does. Then the other guy goes, "Whoa, wait, we can do this." And then all of a sudden, Cassian goes, "No, he's gonna rat."
I
Boom.
can't.
Can't
yeah,
do
And just like
Mhm.
it's like I got to.
it's
No, it's great,
It's
but
definitely got that moral ambiguity stuff of
Exactly.
like the rebellions are not
Exactly.
clean.
Right.
whereas
Yeah.
if this were like a
Love
High
it.
Republic era and everything's, there's no troubles at this time, everything's fine,
Mhm.
the height of the Republic or something, then
Yeah.
there may be a lightsaber training montage with younglings or something like
That's
that would
exactly
have
right.
a different feeling, a different
Right.
tone.
It would.
So it makes sense that where this is, the time period the characters are following, that it would have this feeling.
Yep.
And
And I am, I am defending it by bringing these things up. I'm defending it because
Yeah.
I think there is
Yeah.
room for that. Doesn't make it better.
No,
Then
no, it's just
Boba Fett.
different.
yeah,
There's room for that too. right?
yes,
Sure.
Does it make it better than Obi-Wan? There's room for that too. My kids loved watching.
I think it's just a matter
watching
of
young
preference.
Leia. Fantastic having a child actor drive the show. My kids
Yeah.
love that. Right.
Yeah.
This is darker. I love this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that too. It's just there's room for both, and they take us in different directions. And
And I
let's-
think that people
don't need
would
to
also
compare.
argue, and I
Let's
think
just-
we would agree,
yeah,
that one of the reasons that I am drawn to this and like this is because we haven't gotten a ton like this. I don't
totally
think that it's
unknown.
I don't think
Right.
so.
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
it
yeah.
comes off this way, because I think that all three of us are in agreement here. Of we're really big fans of the show so far. 3
Love
episodes
it.
in, love it. The only reason we're going down this deep dive of talking about whether it lines up with this is kind of just in response to some people who I've already seen have taken their love, which is great. I'm so glad that the fans are responding to Andor, and we're loving the show. Some people are using it as an excuse to criticize, like,
Finally.
finally,
Right.
this is what was better than these. They finally got it right.
Right.
Instead of, it's different,
Mhm.
and I really love it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I love the
I
other
wouldn't say
things
finally.
more or less because of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
It's a different thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that because we got the other stuff, I probably am enjoying this more than I would have had we not gotten the other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not because the other stuff was bad, but because I had that. Sometimes when you have you use our food analogy. If I have pizza,
Yep. We only eat junk
and
food.
then this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
great
yeah,
because this is where my
yeah.
analogy is going.
Pizza.
If I have the pizza,
Right.
and then at the end of the night, I saved a little room for some ice cream.
Yeah.
Some dessert.
Right.
That might help get the pizza
Finally,
was
I have
great, but
something
I didn't
good.
want to go to sleep with the pizza taste in my mouth. I got the
Wait, which is this? Is Andor? Is
This is-
Andor the pizza or is Boba Fett
You're
the
losing
pizza?
me.
well, no.
Boba Fett's the pizza because you got it from Pizza
Chat,
the
what's
Hut.
happening?
Yes, that's exactly the Andor in this case would be the ice cream, which is
Got it.
the ice cream was even better because I had also just had something I really liked,
Right.
but was ready to move on to a different flavor.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back.
We'll take a brief
We have
message.
to regroup as my stomach is now
Remember that from Norm's
rumbling?
show on Netflix? And we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Yes.
Commercial? Yeah.
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 We're on Netflix. No.
We're on
so
Netflix.
good.
There's no,
Nor is there
it's not a commercial.
Nor is there anything to stop for.
It's so
It's
good.
recording. Yeah,
All right.
love it.
Before we dive into some
We're off
more
to a great start
specifics,
already. We love this.
specifics
This is great.
with
Are we talking about Andor? We are.
We got Juliana with a question here. Would you guys like to see Mara Jade make an appearance in Star Wars, like a delve into that whole storyline?
Ooh.
You familiar, Mara Jade?
Yeah,
Right?
this
Mara
is the original. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, this is the original Luke Skywalker love interest of. I mean, this is.
You mean it wasn't Leia?
No, yeah, I guess that's the
Original.
That's the
original.
Not original.
Or
Uh,
it changed.
No, this is the heir to the Empire.
Non-sibling.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the heir to the.
Oh, he's not
Didn't
wearing
wear
the
it.
shirt again. What
Made
a
a joke
failure.
last time about. No, now this is What does
Oh,
it
that's
say? What does it say?
that's
This is Star Wars
original concept art.
from the adventures. From the adventures of Luke Skywalker, soon to be
We're just
spectacular
reading shirts
motion
now.
picture. Oh, this is the original. This is Joseph.
Original,
This is
yeah.
Ralph McQuarrie.
Ralph
Yeah.
McQuarrie, so.
This is Ralph. Joseph.
Joseph McQuarrie, the lesser-known McQuarrie, who they passed on because his ideas were trash.
Joseph's
Like-
over there writing flip book sketches.
Somebody
Just-
get Ralph back in here. What? I can do the work. I promise.
You
Joe,
said we
beat
had
it.
McQuarrie.
Yo, scram.
Is that
Beat
your
it,
real name,
Joe.
McQuarrie? No. Get out.
Beat it, Joe.
You want the story?
What?
I read
This guy loves
that
Mara
a
Jade.
long time
Oh,
ago.
God.
I read it a long time
forgot.
ago.
Yeah.
I
It would
recently
be
read.
cool.
I recently read the whole Heir of the Empire trilogy.
Give us, like, a
within the
visions.
last 5.
Does that have the
years.
Han and Leia's twins in it? Is that
It
in
does.
the second
Yeah.
book, I think? Or
It does.
Yeah,
in
yeah, I
the
remember.
second book. We
Jaina
also get.
and-
There's a
yeah.
lot I love about that original Timothy Zahn stuff because it's also we thought we had no other Star Wars. This
Right.
was
Yeah,
this
yeah.
was extending. I started
Only
to now
movies we're ever
imagine.
gonna get.
Yeah.
There are some a little bit more goofy things. Like definitely, it's really cool that there's a dark side clone version of Luke. His name is Luke. It's just Luke with an extra
Love
U.
it. His wife is like, "Honey, are you sure? It'll be fine.
Luke.
Great.
It's just one letter.
Just
Eh,
one. Yeah, that'd be great.
Trust me."
That'd be great. And
Trust me.
the 2022 media will never say anything about
No,
this.
no.
Oh man.
I think it'd be cool to have a Mara Jade.
Give me like a
why not?
Visions
That'd be really cool.
animation
Also-
adaptation.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Like if they
Oh,
if they
to
took
take
a lot
some
of
of
the
that-
legends,
Yeah.
a
Give
lot
me
of the
some
legend
legend
books,
stuff, and
make it
just-
animation.
and take pressure off it, and say, hey, this is not. This doesn't have just like Visions. Like this does not have to be canon. Just give me some of this stuff.
Do you want to?
Give me Chewie getting killed by that moon. Remember that?
If you ever want to have a good time, just a grand old time, try to explain to a 6-year-old the difference between canon and legend
Yeah, seriously.
without using the word. One is made up, but it's real, but it's not.
I,
The other one is made up, but it's not real because it didn't happen. But the one that is made up that's real also didn't happen, but it's real because it's impossible.
one when I go.
Canon, brother, like,
You
well, I
can't.
don't know.
You can't.
Wait, Daddy, those are books too. Yeah, but this one actually happened. Well, it didn't actually happen,
It
but
actually
it's
happened.
considered the official
the official
story.
story.
That's
This
not a
is the
story.
official-
It was. It's
This
not
is
anymore.
the official story of what did not happen.
What never happened.
This
Yeah,
is the
of what did
official
not
story
happen.
of what
made
did
up
not
a
story.
happen.
long time
This didn't happen,
Right.
but also it also didn't even happen.
It's the official.
ago.
It
it
never
also
happened. None of it
it
happened.
also
None
didn't
of it
even happen.
Just enjoy
But
it.
someone made it. Well, I mean that happened. Well, that happened.
So
I mean,
Joe
they
McQuarrie,
didn't make it.
Joe McQuarrie would be considered legend.
Joe is legends.
Ralph McQuarrie.
See, this is why you got to be careful with legends. You can get good stuff, like you can get
What is happening?
Mara Jade, and you can also get Joe McQuarrie.
They're gonna make a Legends book about the creators of Star Wars.
Ooh, that'd be awesome.
I wonder what our
man.
legends books be about our podcast.
Probably
Not canon, but would legends
Our podcast.
our podcast, but the legends
A
version.
podcast.
So it's
Because
like,
you don't want to touch
this
the
is
canon
not,
part.
Hear me out.
this is
A
like the
podcast-
Curb Your Enthusiasm version of our podcast. It's like it's still all of us.
It would be a podcast
except
that
it's different.
doesn't go off the rails.
I think we would fire Kathy Kennedy and take over running Lucasfilm.
We
That's
take
what-
over on the,
in our fantasy version.
in Legends. We all come
Legends.
prepared with detailed notes. We all have. This is great.
Man,
Oh man.
So
All right.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Put
Favorite
me down.
moments?
Put
Hold
me
up.
down for that.
For Mara Jade. Are we still doing that? Or
Favorite moments from Andor.
Let's talk about Heir to the Empire
Okay.
now.
there's a lot I want to talk about. Okay, new
flashbacks.
characters.
I'll tell you what. Can I start with one?
flashbacks. Oh
What?
no, I just decide I'm going.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I noticed something really interesting from the beginning. How often do we start a Star Wars movie that's not in space or a show?
Ooh.
Now,
Yeah.
we did with Mando. Okay, I guess but we start with him walking down this pathway.
I also love that
Which
opening.
was interesting.
I love the
The
opening,
opening,
credit,
the
the
logo.
opening logo.
Yep,
From the planet to the logo.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
that's
love
sick.
it. And
Yeah.
the old
But yes, the
it's
walking
down
the
developing
pathway.
logo. Anyway, and then we
Walking
got
down the pathway for
BBY.
Cassian.
That's the first time that's ever been in, like, formalized. It was always just like,
Yeah.
you know,
It was in some book stuff, but you didn't get to see it a
Yeah.
lot in movies.
It's
like,
never been
this is
brought up
before.
as-
This is
What were you saying though?
Battle-
As a
Walking
term.
as opposed to being in space.
yeah. So often we think of like Rogue One, all the movies
A
specifically.
lot of them start with the
A
ship.
lot of them start with a beginning
Yeah.
in space,
A
or
battle.
yeah, ship's landing or something. I guess Mando doesn't. It starts with him coming into or kind of does. It's him walking, but it looks like he just landed.
Yeah.
Anyway, it struck me as different that he's walking
Yeah.
this long distance. He's not on a ship. He's just walking on this
Yeah.
path.
I love the music.
The music's great.
The music
We
is
got a
very
live drum kit.
a lot. Yeah.
That's
the
new.
live drums.
Really.
It's different. Who's doing the music for this? Do we know?
I need to look up his
I
name.
saw
don't
his
remember.
name. I don't remember
I
it
can't
off the
remember
top of
who
my
it is.
head, but
I hope we mixed in some original themes
did.
in the trailer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember offhand if those are running in the show. I don't think specifically I remember.
How about speaking of drums? How about the entire town
Oh man,
beating on the
Well, you got the drummer in the
metal
tower.
and-
so great.
yeah, for
Boom,
call,
boom.
for work hours basically.
Right,
Yeah.
it's like an old
End of
steel
day,
town
yeah,
or-
it's
or
like-
a
then the
coal mining
intimidation
town.
Yeah,
of-
exactly.
When the corporation has their troops, who are
Dude.
walking out, and all of a sudden
And they're letting everybody
How
know
about-
they're coming. They're coming.
How about
they're
when
coming.
she's explaining
She
like
says you
what
need to
the
be
noise
worried.
is? Said
It's awesome,
this isn't anything. What you need to be worried about is when you stop hearing it.
right?
And then
Okay.
then from then on out for the next 3 minutes, I'm like, when's it gonna stop? When's
Right.
it gonna stop?
Here's where one of the things I want to start here. The acting was fantastic. I thought it was super emotional.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've watched multiple times now that ending where he's leaving Marva, Fiona
Mhm.
Shaw, the
Mhm.
Yep.
Aunt Petunia, for anyone who's a fan
Right.
of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
First of all, she was great because I haven't
Oh, I
seen her in
know.
a ton
She's
of other
great.
things other than
Amazing.
Harry Potter. But she is strong. I liked her her argument scene that she had with
And the
with
flashback
Cassian
of her,
when she's
too?
talking with him. The flashback where
With
she
young-
discovers
young Cassian.
She's
Casa?
a rebel from the old.
Casa?
Casa.
Casa?
She's a rebel from the old days, man.
She is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then
Scavenging ships.
Yeah.
she's not flustered at all by these troops in
No.
the current time when she's just sitting there. But she's also reminiscing. She's looking at his staff.
Right.
Yeah.
Slash
Yeah.
dart gun.
Dark gun?
Yeah, dark gun.
But she was great. Bix is one of my new favorite characters. I think
Bix.
Bix is a very good. I think Bix is a great balance so far of the strong but kind.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell that
Strong,
she is.
but cares. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like she very much
Right.
like
cares
has
about Cassian. Cares. Do you know who I don't like? Although he's dead now.
He's dead now.
Tim.
Tim.
Yeah.
Which I love that Tim sounds like a
Tim.
normal name,
Yeah.
except in
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Wait,
it
what's
has
his
an extra-
actual name? Rat,
Tim.
I think they said.
M? Yeah, Rat Tim.
Rat Tim. This
No,
guy. This guy.
You just knew that guy was gonna. You knew that he was gonna rat.
I know.
He was gonna.
He was just
He was
getting
gonna
jelly.
turn him in. He was
Right.
getting jelly.
This guy.
He. Yeah. There's so many. I mean, and then obviously Luthen. Give me as much Stellan Skarsgård in
know.
anything. I'm a huge fan of Dune. I can't wait to see him. Back
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
in some more.
What's
Dune
the
stuff,
what was
but
the
Right.
the
he's the Baron?
the officer's name? Do we remember?
Cassian Andor.
Sky.
Oh, it is.
Skiller.
Anyway, what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I like his
That guy
character
is
so far.
I know.
I as soon as this ended or something, I tweeted something earlier and it was like, I can't wait for the Cassian versus whatever that guy's
I
their
love
showdown.
that. I love that there's a morality on both sides. I love that. It's real. Villains don't wake up thinking I'm going to be the best villain today.
No, he thinks he's doing right
They
because he's
have
like,
him-
they killed 2 of our people.
That's exactly
He's
right.
like, someone out there is on the
He's
run.
in a
He killed 2
position
of our
to
people. We
protect
need
the
to.
law and order.
Cyril.
Cyril.
Yeah.
Cassian Andor.
Cyril. Cyril.
Cassian Andor is a
Cyril.
criminal.
Yeah, he is.
He in cold blood. Now, granted, they shouldn't
Yeah.
have been doing what they were doing.
One of them
In cold blood,
But
he
one of the
shot
guys
him in
has
the
no-
face
yeah.
with a blaster.
Yeah.
Who has no weapon on him, and he is.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I find it more believable that the villains have reasons. They're not just
Yeah.
villains. And if you go back to the original, they didn't. They're just villains.
So you
Which
know what
is
that
what
made
kids
me.
appreciate. Like,
Yeah,
that's the bad
yeah.
guy, that's a good guy. So this back and forth, the villains have reasons for what
What
they're
this
doing.
Yeah,
made
yeah.
me
I
feel.
think it's great.
What that made me feel. Or what this reminded me of
I
a little
like
bit.
the Scottish guy.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
What this reminded me of, that
was
element of it
awesome.
reminded me a little bit of Lost Stars.
Mm.
Yeah,
how-
for sure.
About
I
how
haven't read
Lost
that one
Stars.
yet.
So
How
Lost
they see
Stars,
things
Claudia
differently.
Gray.
Yeah, it's both sides.
It's very
Yeah.
much. It is plain. It is not to make you think, oh, I wonder which side's the good side. The rebels are the Empire is bad. They have a weapon called the Death Star.
But it shows you
But-
why certain people
It does show
think
that
they're
there
good.
are certain
See it a different way.
people that aren't just.
that don't see
They
everything.
don't just. I am just about power and greed and this.
Yeah.
And this. Some of them are. Tarkin.
Yeah.
Tarkin is about power and greed.
yeah.
There's also other people who do feel like
We're
Well,
protecting planets. We're protecting
all
people.
I've heard or all I've personally experienced is this group of who we think are terrorists blew up a space station that had my friends on it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they're like, of course these
Of course they're
rebels,
gonna hate
whatever
Luke
you call them,
Skywalker.
are of course they're the enemy. They killed
They're
my
terrorists.
friends.
Mhm.
They're terrorists.
Yeah, they just
You're
yeah.
like, well, I understand what you're saying. Your buddy was working on I hate to tell you, the place your buddy was working on was called the Death Star. And it actually blew up this entire planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billions and billions. Then you'd be like, whoa, I didn't know
It's
about that.
not to mention any nations, but it is really about where you come into the conversation. If you step into the conversation after you
Yeah.
have been attacked,
Yeah.
then you react. You don't actually think
Yeah.
200, 400, 600 years before that. You've stepped into the
True.
conversation and watched your world be destroyed, and the Empire is now bringing order, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's
from that
this show
side,
is
they have
going to-
reasons. They
We
are
haven't
the
even-
bad guys, but
yeah.
we know that because we can see from up here.
What?
We haven't
Yeah.
even
In
gotten
it,
to Coruscant
they
yet.
Don't.
We haven't even
Yeah.
gotten to Coruscant yet.
True.
There's going to be so much politics and stuff
Mhm.
involved in that. But already they're definitely hitting on themes of, well, one, it's definitely similar to Rogue One, very war focused, war centric.
Mhm.
This may be different than even Rogue One. Has a lot more of the everyday person in their everyday life
Yeah.
and how the everyday, like, I loved the repeated scenes of like the gloves hanging up and like
Yeah.
people going to work and they're
Right.
going. We
Yeah.
didn't see, because this is one of the beauties of a show like this where you can really take its time. Where in a movie you can't show multiple scenes of same of going to work. Here's this, and then we run into this person who works at this shop, and then this person.
Yeah.
Where in this, you can do a little more of this world building, even though we're all familiar with
showing
Star
that
Wars.
he still has allies among these people.
But showing like
That
what are
care
these
for
people's
Cassian.
day-to-day lives? How does this affect the average person? Why are the villagers why are they all in on banging the drums and rallying the troops to essentially like we're going to intimidate and get these people out of here? We're starting to get a galaxy. We're getting a more of a galaxy view of how these different worlds are oppressed by the Empire.
Yeah.
And not just in the original A New Hope. We are told, and we're seeing brief scenes of greedy Imperial officers, and we're basically told clearly those are the bad guys. These are the good guys. We don't necessarily know what they're fighting
We need to
for,
stop.
other than they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
good guys need to beat the bad guys.
Right.
We're hunting
these
down
are now-
Cassian, and if you get in our way, you're helping him. So you're
We're now
bad
getting
too.
some
Right.
specific examples of the flashbacks. Cassian's world is destroyed.
yeah.
As a result, it looks like of being in the essentially an innocent bystander in this conflict
That's right.
that is just wiped out
That's
as
getting
a result
destroyed,
of this thing that's bigger than them.
yeah.
And as a result of that, loses his friends, loses his family, and it sets him on a path where eventually he ends up obviously making decisions to get involved.
right.
But
we-
it is a lot more of the brutality
Also, yeah.
worldwide versus just we think they're evil, so we're going after them. We're now seeing a lot of the results of
Yeah.
it.
That's right.
You mentioned this earlier about the morals on both sides.
Yeah.
And one thing I thought was interesting too, was the boyfriend, the guy that died,
Tim.
who called Tim, the rat.
The
Who
rat,
called
Tim the rat.
them to
The rat.
come, and then actually ends up getting killed from the people he called
Right.
to come get Cassian. He dies from
How
them.
often is that the case? That's not what I wanted.
Right. That didn't turn out the way I wanted. But I think it's interesting that when that happened, that guy was like reactionary. Didn't really feel sorry, but was also like, he was coming at us, so it is what it
Again.
is. But then the other officer
What do you
was like,
do?
go back to the ship. Like, that's obviously wrong.
Yep.
Whereas, do we get to the point later on where the Empire's full blown, just boom, doesn't matter, nobody questions
Exactly.
it. Let's
Well,
just-
even in Rogue One, we see that scene.
yeah.
They're just blown away.
Just take them out, and it doesn't matter. So there is
They
still
get-
a
I
getting
hope
to
we
the Rogue
eventually
One.
get to some Krennic. I was
Oh, I
rewatching
know.
some Rogue One
Me
last
too.
night,
We
and,
were
and
too.
Krennic is just one of my favorite. First of all,
He's
Ben
so
Mendelsohn's
good.
such a great actor.
You
but he's one of
stand
the
here
best.
on my achievement.
I
My
love that he's like, oh,
achievements.
look who it is, Lyra back from the dead. he's
So
like,
good.
of course you were lying to me, Galen. Search the house. Like,
Find
he's just
the
such a
damn
good
child.
Yeah.
Find it.
Find it.
He's so
I
good.
love it.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about. I love the fact that they are starting the rebellion. The Empire has to begin with some. They can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
So the best way, the most likely way, is that you would start with corporations who are already in place,
Yeah.
Yep.
who are basically licensed
Yeah.
or
There's officers, as police,
or
whatever it
paid.
is. Yeah.
as an extension of the Empire. So
Right.
I mean, I used
exactly
to
what
think
we
I
got.
used to think it was because stormtroopers. I used to think it was based on the Nazis,
Yeah.
but it's actually probably more based on the Roman Empire,
Mm.
where they would expand, and when they moved into that area, they would occupy the area, but they would keep the local magistrate. They would have someone to run it, but they would work within the confines of the culture. They wouldn't
Yeah.
come in
And use their people.
they would
They would use the
adapt.
systems already in
So
place.
over
just corrupt
time,
them.
they would raise children who were Roman within that country,
Right.
but they're using the infrastructure that's already there to keep them in line, right?
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
they would rule with Roman law and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that they're introducing the corporations as the beginning
Yeah.
starting point. And then obviously anybody from these corporations who exhibits certain behavior is it's a perfect one to move up and bring into our galactic empire as a higher up to run planets and run which these two guys and that
Yeah.
lieutenant and that sergeant are the epitome.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're smug, diligent to duty, but also the fear that coupled with arrogance, I mean,
Yeah.
all that stuff
Yep.
is all in there.
I think what's interesting too is,
Smarmy. It's
Yeah.
great.
like you're saying, it's not quite. It's still a step back, timeline wise, but also
Haven't
just
seen a stormtrooper yet.
action wise,
No.
No.
getting to that empire that we know, where it's just empire bad, follow orders, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I think you see some of that too in the reactions of the civilians walking around,
Yeah.
because it's not just force, like, police force or patrol is here, everybody hide, the Empire's coming through, don't speak out of line, don't help anybody else. Like, we still have characters that are like willing to be like, yeah, I'll help. Like Cassian, I know this is wrong, I won't tell anybody, but I'll help you out.
Exactly.
I'll lend you credits, I'll do this. Whereas I feel like once we get to the original trilogy and it's the Empire, it's like everybody's out for themselves. It's like, I'm not really going to help you because if the Empire finds out, I'm dead.
Right.
Now it's like people are they're still more open,
especially when
to
they're
help,
within the
exactly,
within their living,
within their own town,
close to
within
each
their
other. It also raises. Think about it. What's more terrifying if you think about stormtroopers? Okay, so you've got these guys dressed in uniform walking down the street. That's intimidating. But what about a faceless, nameless monster in a pristine white mask?
Yeah.
With a blaster, and they all look the same, and it just
and
feels
in
like
numbers.
ants. They're endless,
and in more
Who
numbers.
shoot and kill, and because of the mask, their expression never changes.
No motion.
They just do it,
that
they move on.
is
That's
terrifying. So when we get to
Yeah.
that point where instead of these blues or corpse walking down the street, stormtroopers come in, that's going to be frightening.
or
it. Yeah.
or clones.
Or clones. Whatever.
Clones that are
Either
still
one.
bad.
Exactly. We'll see. that
Or
in the
clones
trailer.
that are now bad.
See that in
I
the-
think we'll
so
get
anyway,
it.
it's going to
we'll
be.
get
trailer.
both in the show.
I think we will too. I think
And
we'll
when
get
they
both.
enter, it's going to feel.
Yeah.
So we've now created a tier, basically a tier below
Yes.
Imperial officers and a tier below stormtroopers. So
Right.
that when they
Extension
come
of
on
the
the scene,
Empire.
it's going to
Right.
feel like, whoa, this is scarier.
Yeah.
Right. Are
there-
there
Can't wait.
For sure.
just to get to some specific moments? Are there any specific dialogue or moments or I don't know, different parts throughout the 3 episodes that you thought, oh, this is my favorite part so far, or I like this, I really liked, or I don't know. For instance, me off the top of my head, I love the meetup. We saw they released some of this clip before.
I didn't
it
watch
came
it
out
ahead, so I didn't know. The
and they-
Luthen,
And it was in
the-
some of the trailers.
the Luthen.
Yeah.
True, we knew Cassian
The
Andor.
meetup.
I
Yeah.
wish I hadn't seen it, actually. I wish they had shown me something else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
I
you hadn't
do.
seen. Yeah.
It felt like a climactic moment that if they had shown me something else, I think I
Then you'd
might
be
have
Or
surprised.
been.
not
yeah.
as much. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I love
I was
that
thinking that,
scene.
like, I know what's coming. I know it's
I
coming.
know.
I loved
Yeah.
how prepared Luthen was in that scene when he's
Mhm.
talking to him, and then he's rule number 2. You always create your exit on the way in or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Like that. Build your
Yeah.
exit on the way in, and he boom, and then all of a sudden they all start.
Yeah.
All the chains start falling, and
It also set a very quick perspective of who he is, and that it gave off the vibe of he is bigger than what's
He's not
going
a
on.
buyer. This
No.
guy is.
No.
He's bigger than what's going on, as if, like, say he is with the rebellion, and we're gonna find all that out, or he
Yep.
actually has the big rebellion or group that's starting. He felt more, quote unquote, not invincible, but more protective in a sense that he was fine with going in, setting charges, and then it explodes. It's like, oh, there's one of the officers.
His
It doesn't.
first rodeo.
It's not like Cassian,
Right.
like, oh, I killed an officer, I'm on the run.
Right.
Him, it was like, all
well,
right, this
especially
guy is.
'cause-
He's a casualty,
It's
and
part of what we
let's
do.
move along.
Well,
Yeah.
he even says confidently too, like, what would happen if they caught me with this? I'd be hung in the street. And he just and then continues his
That's the
conversation.
life
You're
I
like,
live.
Yeah.
that's a guy who
When you understand that, you're not
afraid
as
right now.
when you know those are the risks every day, you're not as afraid of it because you're like, at any point, I've known this could happen, so that's not going to
They're
stop me
serving a
from
bigger-
doing what.
I'll tell you one thing I really loved about this. Now, so the used universe, right?
Yes.
That was a
Yeah.
mainstay of Star Wars, but it became a thing that everything was used.
Yeah.
Do you notice that? It almost became a cliche that everything was used. Everything was used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we have clearly a leader in the rebellion
Mm-hmm.
who, when Cassian comes to his ship, we have a stark contrast between lay people, poor people's ships, and Luthen's ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
They make it very clear. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds like Jarvis when he's landing. It's
Yeah.
pristine.
and he parks
pristine
far away, out of
computer.
sight.
They make a point of making it a guided landing. The conversational nature. There's
He's
no
got
glitches.
credits.
There's no.
Yeah.
It's pristine on the inside. Everything looks nice.
Yeah. Even Cassian gives it a look when he walks up. He's like, what
Notices
is
like
this?
this is really not who is this?
Who is this guy? Yeah.
Now we're gonna find out he's connected to senators and everything.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that this feels like a bridge between that world and the Senate, where we get
Yeah.
This is the direct
Yeah.
we get.
lifeline.
I
to
mean,
it.
it's
Mon
older. We get
Mothma, yeah.
Amidala type pristine
Yeah.
ships and transports.
Yep.
Connected now with the other side, where we get the used universe.
He's working on the ships in the
Cassian
shipyard.
Andor, right?
Yeah.
We're getting seeing both of those worlds, and it's really not about time. It's more about money and place in the universe,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? So I loved seeing that, and they made a point to say, not everything's used here. There are some things are new, and some people in the rebellion have money and influence. And
Yeah.
The
I love that.
on that same thought, one of the things that blew me away by the show, and I could tell based on the trailers that like, oh, I think we're gonna really like visually how the show looks. To
Yeah,
me,
it looks incredible.
it looks, and it's a combination of two things. One, I did read up that they used some volume for the show. Did you
They
notice?
did. I
used
saw
some
that.
volume.
I saw that.
But they're so
month ago.
specific as to when they use it that it's
Mhm.
almost impossible. Like that, I know this can't be practical, so it has to be volume, but I
Yeah.
can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where there's some other shows where you're like, oh, that's maybe a little bit. Not that we're critical of the volume. I think the volume's been really good. But there are certain shots in either Obi-Wan or Mando and Boba Fett that I'm like, oh, I can kind of tell that's on the volume. It still looks great, but I can kind of tell.
Yeah.
This, because so much of it is actual location shot, and there's so much practical, and it's so big, the scope. When I see the money that went into some of the visuals that are clearly, computer generated, I was blown away by how good they looked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they went out of their way to show like 4 or 5 different ships taking off and landing, which I think are
in the
some
explosion of one of them.
explosion. The takeoff and landing, which ships sometimes can come off as a little video gamey or
Yes.
not quite.
Not as smooth.
There's a few times
little,
in some other of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows, so I'm like, that looks really good. I am positive though that if that was in Rise of Skywalker, it would look better
It would,
because they have the budget. They
That's
would
right.
have done it.
Yeah.
It's different.
There was movie quality, I thought, as
Yeah.
far as what it looked like Rogue One when
Yeah.
a lot of this
It
stuff
really
was
did.
taken off. It looked really good.
It did.
And
Yeah.
but also, just I loved visually how it looked. The tone we've talked about a lot, the acting we've talked about, the music. But I'm also so excited. I will be first to admit that right when this is funny because this show was announced in 2018.
You weren't excited for it. This guy, I knew it.
I knew it.
This
Now,
guy, fake,
we find
fake,
out.
fake,
Fake,
fake, fake, fake.
This is my last video I'm ever doing. I need to step away. No.
Yeah,
No,
people
I
are
was-
saying that they don't like this, and now they're not going to talk about Star Wars. And I just say,
No, but I do.
finally,
Get
they're
outta
going
here.
away. Yes.
More room
if
for us.
Kathy keeps
More
running
room
it,
for us.
That's Kathleen Kennedy's goal, to get all of the trolls
Get all the
so
trolls outta
mad
here.
that they just quit, and then we just
That's
all live
it.
happily ever after on
Then we all
On
win.
Tatooine,
on the
twin
moons
sons.
of Endor, dancing and singing. Chub
That's
Chub.
how we win. Not fighting
Yup,
what we
nup.
hate, but having Kathy destroy all the trolls.
Yep, no.
But this show was announced in 2018. People forget that this was announced around the same time that Mando was announced. It was announced that this would be one of the first shows that come out.
That's right. It was.
Now it's
That's because we
taken-
talked about.
we talked about it for a long time, and I remember thinking at the time
sitting over there without a camera.
It makes sense why, if they're going practical with it,
we
why
were
it took,
over there without a camera.
That's true.
We were talking
Sir-
about they're going to do this new
That's
Mandalorian
true.
show that Jon Favreau's doing, and they've said the next one after that. That's essentially what it was. It was supposed to be the
Andor.
next one after that was going to be Andor.
With this being practical, it does make sense why it got pushed back because of COVID and things.
There's a lot
they
of things
wanted
that
to meet and
delayed
do
it.
a lot of it. And
I think
not
it
on
also
volume
turned
and-
into a
Right, right.
bigger thing.
Yeah,
Which,
it
by
did.
the way, I have a little side note since we're talking about Andor here.
Yep.
I saw Andor
Yep.
season 2.
You saw it.
No, I saw a quote
This
from
guy's got
Tony.
insider stuff.
I've
we don't even
seen
know
it.
About.
I've seen it. I don't like it, and I'm done with it.
I'm not going to stand for it. I'm
Um,
going to sit down.
Tony Gilroy, showrunner, creator of
Mm.
Andor, was talking about. He did an interview like last couple days. I saw some quotes from it of him talking about Andor season 2, about how Andor season 2 is going to start filming. I believe he said It's starting to film in November, I believe.
Oh, all right.
He said, because they were asking when do you think, like how long. He said, well, we're filming it from November through August. And they were like, holy cow,
What?
that's a massive shoot. And he said the first.
Or is it because they're traveling
he
locations?
said the first
maybe?
season of this show took almost a year to film.
Oh my goodness!
And that it's that big. Or
And
no,
they're
he
letting him do
said
another one.
took like
What
8
you
to
don't
9
know is every
he said it took
episode
like-
from here on out is 2 hours
He said
long.
it took,
hours
he
long.
said the first one took a long. Actually, this is what he said.
Goodness.
First one was a similar length in shoot
Yeesh.
and took almost a year in post production to get it ready for the show. And so they said, so you're filming in November, but it ends in October. And they were saying that he said in his thing that, so yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, I think that this season 2 would probably come fall 2024, which is a long way away.
Man,
That means there won't be any Andor next year, which also does make
They're
sense.
leaving
So
room
with
for other-
like
they
with,
gotta have other stuff in
with
there.
release
Man.
times, like Mando took
Yeah.
time off, and then now
Right.
Mando's coming back. So it doesn't. We already know we're getting Ahsoka. We already know we're getting these other shows
Mando
that are
3.
coming out. Mando 3. Those things are all coming out next year.
Visions 2.
But if that tells you the scale of the show
Bad
and how
Batch.
big and how important they think it is,
Mhm.
Yeah.
when he said filming, we are filming in like Europe. He was talking about where they're filming. We're filming in these locations, and the filming process will go from November to August. It's like
That's
that is
crazy.
as big as a Star
They're-
Wars
they're
movie,
shooting
if
a
not
lot of
bigger.
different
Like,
Did you
it's
guys
huge.
see?
That's
Did you see some
awesome.
of the behind the scenes on the creation of this?
I did.
The like 3 blocks of buildings and stuff they built for that
That's
whole
unreal.
like the
It looks so
town they
good.
made.
too.
So they could actually go through it.
Yeah.
yeah, incredible.
It's
It
fantastic.
looks insane. They
I
actually
want to
built
know
all
if they've
that.
got a bigger set for the volume because you could put it in if it's a bigger set, you're gonna have
do a
you're
lot
gonna be able
more.
to get a bigger scope.
Yeah.
I mean that
You mean creating a bigger volume? Is
yeah,
what you mean.
because it's
yeah.
grown. It's circular and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
could it's moved to floor and ceiling and stuff.
And then
Yeah.
essentially you can have
So they
more
could-
sets in between, and the volume's still the
If they just
the outer rim.
yeah, if it's a
Outer rim.
if it's a 50-foot high
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing and it's a bigger room, you got more room to shoot those shots on a camera. So
Yeah.
I mean, they can move people around, resize people and stuff, but I just wonder if it's the same exact set, or if they've created if it's a different set using the volume tech.
Sure.
I don't know if I don't know if anybody's talked about that.
Yeah. I don't know.
My
It's,
favorite scene of the whole thing so far, when he kills the
beginning?
guard, the
What-
cop.
Yeah. When the guy's like begging for
Mm-hmm.
when
Yeah.
at that time, because that guy was such a weasel
Yeah.
too.
I mean,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
know it's coming, but it sets the.
It does.
Says
It
this
immediately
is.
sets the tone.
It does.
It also says this ain't your daddy's Star Wars.
This ain't the droid
No.
you're looking for.
This
No.
is not the.
In case you were
Feels
wondering,
different.
in case you were wondering if it was your daddy's Star Wars when they left the brothel.
Right.
Yeah.
That
In case
part
you
wasn't
still.
either.
wondering
case
if
you
this
still
is our
thought
daddy's
that.
Star
But even
Wars.
that,
They
though,
shoots him in
cut
the
away
head. I know,
and
true.
Yeah.
The
We say
language.
that this
Who are
is
you
not-
looking for?
yeah.
My sister. Okay. Oh.
We
he's
say-
not
yeah.
there for that. He's looking for his sister.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We say that it's very much it's something that especially for a younger audience is
Right.
going to go over their
Yeah.
head. They
My
definitely
6-year-old's
they
like,
do
oh
it
look,
in a way
there's
where they
somebody
talk
in the
around it.
bubble.
Yeah.
Okay. He shot that guy in the face. That one you can't
Yes.
like
Yeah. You
That
can't
all of a
miss
sudden
that.
you can't. Yeah,
just
For
I don't know.
sure.
It set the
Yeah.
kind of the tone.
Yeah.
definitely.
I love the B2. The droid.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
great. B2 is great.
B2. What's it? Emo or something? B2 emo.
Yeah.
Yeah, B2
emo.
Yeah. B2 's
I
great.
think already the personality of B2 is fantastic.
Yeah.
The way it's like I guess the core.
Yeah, like they're like-
it's almost like a Jack in the Box spring. Like it
It is.
tilts its head and moves
Yeah.
around and twists, but it kind of shrinks.
They've taken
in
the
and out.
R2 garbage can thing to another.
They have.
Yeah.
Like, let's go farther into
Yeah.
Also, in
the
that
square.
in that
shape.
line of
It's cool.
thinking, Cassian just has some great droids that he ends up. I mean, because we know he ends up with K2SO.
K2SO.
I know.
K2SO, and he's just got a great bond with droids.
That could be part
He
of
is
this.
the opposite of
He's
Obi-Wan.
he's-
Obi-Wan
I
never
hadn't
liked
thought about
droids.
getting
And Mando.
K2SO in this. thing.
Mando. He's the
Mando.
opposite of Mando. Mando didn't like droids for a long time.
Right.
Cassian is all about he treats his droids
Yeah.
very well, and because of that he's
B2, you there?
B2,
They're all listening.
B2's like, kill it.
Just
B2's
silent.
like, I can't. B2, answer. This is Cassian Andor, B2. Like Cassian.
You know, the one they're looking for.
Stop
That's
talking.
it, dude. In case you remember, all these guards are looking for me. Make
Come on.
sure to tell them I am not here. I am off world.
B2,
But I'm
you
actually
gotta
down
shut
at the
yourself
I'm actually,
down, B2.
But I'm actually. But if you do need me, B2, I'm down at the tavern. But let him. I'm off world. Roger that, sir. We got him.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're moving it.
It shows his exact
We're
location.
moving in. I do think it's interesting that you said that. It reminded me. The fact that there's only
Moving in.
12 of the officers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, it's not a numbers game with the Empire. It's like, they're all expendable. It's just a numbers game. Throw out 100 troops,
send them
we'll
down.
win.
Mm-hmm.
This is 12 guys, and it makes it more of like, there's times where they're running through the town, and you're
guys,
like,
they're hired. I mean,
They are. They're
not-
Yeah.
hired hands. They're
Yeah.
not.
and it's like
Stormtroopers are
they're
too,
running through the town, and there's a second where I'm like, wait, are they about to get ambushed now too? It's like I felt like the tone and it kind of felt things shifting a little bit, and then they're
Right.
like, that means they're behind us, and I'm like, oh, this is
Well, when they said, I love the fact that if you want to talk about the rebels and in terms of terrorism, you can. I don't know. I love the fact that when she says what you should be worried about is when they stop. Now,
Yes.
What
That's interesting.
What did they actually do?
That-
Nothing.
yeah.
no,
But it's the thought
it's
was
the
the fear.
intimidation.
because she knew they don't keep doing this forever. They stop once they've warned everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She put in their minds the fear. You should be more worried about what happens when they stop.
and they
Now
go, what
the-
happens?
The
And she just
fear
doesn't
of what's
answer.
going to happen became the thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
Like, right? For us, we're watching like, what's going to happen? Oh, wait a minute. They didn't
Yeah.
actually do anything.
yeah,
And the fact that it's one person who just ties a weight.
Yep.
ship.
yeah,
Yeah.
One
that
person.
scene.
yeah.
And
so
that-
good.
So
Starts
great.
with
Wraps it
small
around.
things. And you could see everybody at the end.
Whoa,
People are
an
making
anchor.
decisions.
Yeah.
Decisions are being made. Like, how can I just be comfortable just going to work and letting things happen, or do I have to
Yeah.
actually become? Should I be involved?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can see it forming. I mean, you're wondering
Yeah.
who's that guy going to be, or who's she going to be.
I want more of the friend. That he said, talk to so and so. They'll give you the credits for helping me out.
Yeah, right.
I kind of want more of his
Who?
character. The
Oh,
friend,
yeah,
Cassie's
yeah.
friend
There's
that
a
works
lot
the
of them,
job.
yeah. Mhm.
They kept coming back to him a couple times and showing his shots as he was trying to piece things together about Cassian on the run. It
Right.
showed that without any words, it showed his face and stuff that he was still he's worried.
Yeah.
As they're coming through, he's worried and wondering where's Cassian, hoping he's all right.
Yeah.
That's the vibe you kind of get from him, and
Right.
I want more. I
Oh.
want to see if he ends up jumping with
You're
Cassian.
gonna get
and-
I mean, we're gonna get see the birth of a rebellion. I was just thinking K2 is. I mean, why can't we see that story come to pass throughout?
So
this?
I heard that. So I think Tony Gilroy said that K2 is in season 2.
Yeah,
season
that
2.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's what I
He
thought.
said there's
yeah.
not.
We
He's
gotta
not
see
gonna be
them
season
come
1 at
together.
all.
That's what I
but He'll
thought.
be in
you
season
got to
2.
get the Han and Chewie story of Cassian and
Because that's
Yeah,
supposed
well,
to,
I heard he.
coming
I
up.
heard he
season
actually
2 is
finds,
supposed to lead up to the events of Rogue One.
right.
Okay.
I heard
Right
he
up to
finds K2 in the mud pits with the Empire, and he starts speaking droid.
He's thrown in there with him.
Starts speaking.
He starts
droid.
speaking droid, and he
A
goes,
little.
"Yeah, I speak a little."
A little.
K2 is like, I was rewatching Rogue
I
One
speak
last
English.
night. I love that.
I barely do myself.
Do you want me to tell you the odds of her
odds?
using that against you? It's high.
It's
I
high.
love it.
It's very
It's
high.
Very
It's
high.
very high.
K2
So
is
good.
so great. It's
Um,
high.
We'll kind of
It's very
wrapping up the podcast for maybe tonight is what are we looking forward to? Obviously, we're loving the show. Some things we can look forward to. I think we have. It looks like some Coruscants coming probably next episode. I would guess with
Yeah.
them going off
Well,
world
he's
now.
getting
Them
tangled up.
waiting.
We got stormtroopers
We've-
coming.
And
He's
we got
getting
some
in.
Mon Mothma.
I think
because we got a lot of Mon
we'll see some
Mothma.
clones.
Yep.
I think we'll see some Mon Mothma.
Well, here's what's
Do we
going to happen.
get any Saw yet?
What's going to have to happen
Ooh.
is with
he's
when,
not in it.
when this happens on this planet, that doesn't go unanswered.
No.
Yeah.
There's going to be an answer to this.
And what is
So
the?
They're coming to this planet.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think. And what's the answer?
Was it called Frexus?
The
I forget.
I almost said Brexit, but that's something different.
the imperial
I forget.
the officer
Brexit,
guy.
yeah.
I keep forgetting his name.
Which one?
With an S.
Cyric?
Maybe?
Cyril?
Something like that.
Cyril?
What is
Cyril?
he going to? Is he just
Cyril?
going to dive in and become
Cyril?
even more angry at the whole situation after realizing he was told not to get involved? He chose to get involved anyway, and now there's more casualties on his hands. How is he going to respond? Is he going to be like, go all?
He is kind of that typical. He reminds me, if you've ever seen like any of these war movies where the lieutenant who's been schooled and everything, and he's
exactly.
got a degree, so he's in charge, but he's really never seen any combat.
Yeah, exactly. He
That
couldn't
is
give a
the
And the
speech.
exact
sergeant
thing.
who's been gracious
Couldn't give a speech.
is not going to tolerate that much longer. Like,
No.
Yeah.
we're going to cross a line where he's like, this is guy's a complete tool.
This guy's a fraud.
Exactly.
We're moving
No
in that
actual
direction.
leadership ability.
It could be
Well,
that. I
what's
don't know.
great is what'd you call the other guy? The Scottish guy? Or what did you say
Yeah,
about
the Scottish guy.
How about the fact when he's waiting for him to give his little motivational speech and
love
it's
it.
so weak? Like
It's
when,
so
when
weak, and he just
Cyril
goes-
gives his motivational speech and he's like,
Starts
"We're gonna."
clapping.
Yeah, I mean, he might as well have had like a
Well
voice
said, sir.
voice crack in the middle of talking to him. Like, "We're gonna go
Sure.
get him. We're gonna go get him. We're gonna hit him hard." And then the other guy's like,
they all look around.
"Very well done, sir. Very, very
well
well
said.
said. What's it? Inspiring.
Well said. Inspiring.
Inspiring. And the guy's like, "Look at
Good
good.
talking
Let's
to the-
go."
It's like they're talking to
Terrible.
Okay,
Yeah,
hands
yeah,
in.
such
No, we
a
don't need to do
dweeb.
that.
We
Let's
don't
just
do
go.
hands in.
No.
Right? Empire on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Empire.
That really
He's
is
a
what it
great,
was.
but we haven't had a ton of that type of character in Star Wars yet. You get a little bit with Hux of like someone who thinks but Hux is a different thing because
Oh,
Hux has such an attitude about him.
And he's got the speeches down.
The speeches,
Yeah.
he is.
That's
he is,
why he was hired.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
He's a voice.
Hux, you want a
Which
promotion?
we
Give another
stand-
speech.
Right.
The last day of the Republic.
Yeah.
This guy though is like, oh, I'm okay. I've read
I'm
the
up.
Oh, I'm
textbooks.
supposed to talk.
I've read
now?
the textbooks. I've watched. This is exactly how.
Hold on a
let's
second.
go get him. Let's go get him. You're like,
Okay, this guy.
okay.
This guy's in
okay,
charge.
I
Bobcat
would
Goldthwait.
pick anyone but you. Strangers
Literally
That's it.
anybody.
that we've never met before. You're exactly who I would
I'm
choose.
interested to see how much of that we'll get. What happens to that town, the city there, and out of.
I want to know who's in the rebellion right now. What's
what's already formed.
They're going to take
I know,
Luthen
give
and
us-
Cassian are going to go back.
Are we going to see?
Who's he going to see?
Wait a
Who is
second.
in there? Who's
Are
doing
we
this?
gonna see any? I don't think there's a ton of like cameos, so I don't necessarily think characters, but will we hear names of like over intercoms of General Syndulla or any of this stuff? They did it in Rogue One. They threw
Yeah.
out Chopper and
I would not be
Syndulla in Rogue One.
I would
Not that we
be
need
surprised.
cameos.
I
don't
would think
we
they
need
won't
that.
be
Right.
in it. They won't be in it.
I don't think they'll be
because,
in it, but-
those reveals will be for
Ahsoka.
For Ahsoka.
I agree.
The Ahsoka show.
But we could have some.
Uh,
I agree, but
could
could
be
we
some-
could
some
we see the
verbals.
ghost? Could we see the ghost flying
Potentially.
off or something like that, or docked station?
People that could definitely be in it as far as time period wise connections from both the political side and rebellion side. Obviously, we know Mon Mothma's in it. We know
Mhm.
Saw Gerrera.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, what's going on? Welcome.
Some Bail? This might be the year of Bail
Why not?
Organa.
We're
Why
in
not?
there.
I mean,
I know.
Senate.
Seriously,
we're going to be in the Senate. We're going to be getting
give us some bail.
We're getting some of the senators. And
The
stuff at that
year
time.
of Bail.
The year of Bail. The resurgence of Bail Organa.
He's
I love
just
that
jumping
Jimmy-
from time period to
Jimmy
time period.
Smits is just like, sure, I'll
do
keep
another
doing
one.
it. Keep
Yeah.
doing it. I am loving just from the trailer, the one he's Qyburn from Game of Thrones. But I can't wait to see. I just love some Imperial officers. Not that I agree with them.
Right.
To be clear, I don't stand.
I
with,
love so much how I
do
disagree
not
with them.
stand with fascist
No.
regimes. But
Against it.
I did a vote with Norm before it was cool to say it.
I was against Hitler way back.
way
before it
back.
was cool.
But
I've always been against Hitler.
but there's something about the gray button up uniform that just like as soon as the smugness and the arrogance of the Imperial officers in the first scene we ever got in
It's fantastic.
the first scene we ever got in A New Hope, immediately I was like, when they talk about the Senate is no more, and they're like immediately you abolish the Senate, like
Right.
these guys they're ruthless.
Yes.
I can't wait. I love that Luthen was talking about he was agreeing with their greed and stuff.
Yeah.
It's they've gotten so fat.
They've gotten so fat.
Smug.
Fool.
I can't wait to see some Coruscant.
Yeah.
Give me more live action Coruscant, which it's coming.
Yeah. Anything
It's
Coruscant's sick. Yeah. I don't know.
It's,
I can't wait for episode 4.
But now I have to adjust it. Okay, it's only one
It's
episode
only one.
next
It
week.
better be good.
I
Come on,
know.
be good.
Listen, it's okay if it's one episode as long as it's 2 hours.
As long as it's 2 hours.
I will allow
Give us
that.
a good one.
No, I can't wait for
It's
episode
gonna be
4.
so
I've heard
good.
it's great based off
Do
all
we have
the
to
people
clarify
I know.
episode 4 and what are they calling this? They're not chapters. are they?
Chapters.
Episode.
They're calling them
It is
episodes.
episode. It
Bold.
is.
It's there's no title.
That's right. It's
either.
S22 or
Just
SE2.
episode 1.
Episode 1.
2.
Yeah.
Why? They're like, because there's the third
It's a
episode.
show.
'Cause we
That's
can
what
do
everybody
that.
does.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No spoilers.
Which helps us on the podcast. We don't have to put money in the jar for you original
True.
listeners.
Exactly.
Who are podcast
True, 'cause
episodes.
we know
did
that
have
pays out,
I
so-
did have a cool idea.
Oh yeah.
Those who have been watching for a while, I think it would be cool for us to, they have the volume, right? We should go back and do a video
own volume.
cast.
Oh.
We should do a video cast
In the volume.
from the original location and show them how we used to do the show.
Yeah, we
We
should.
should. With our green screen back there,
Wait,
which was
green
going to be
screen
our
we
volume.
never
How far
used.
back are we going? Is it Mike and I?
You
with
guys
the-
could go
with
back
the
and show 'em your
stool
thing.
With the one mic in the
Between
middle,
you
or we're
talking to
sitting here
both sides
talking.
of
We're casting over an open fire and
Right.
We literally-
Exactly.
we've come a ways. We've come a ways.
That was back when we'd sit one mic there. Nate and I would go.
Speak up.
So we went to Galaxy's Edge yesterday.
Yeah,
And,
we'll tell you all
Nate,
about
tell
it.
them a story about us messing with stormtroopers. I told like a 2-hour long story.
Yeah,
It's great. Those are the
it's a
old
good
days.
episode.
Now we sit around with nice microphones, nice chairs, and we just go Cassian Andor.
Cassian
Andor.
That's right.
And sometimes it breaks into.
proposing?
Sometimes it
If we
breaks
don't get
into
that
a
line at
different
all.
voice. Yeah, give me that. I want Luthen to say something. Well, that's why we have to do this. We gotta win. What is he proposing? And then Luthen just pulls out a gun and just shoots him. And apparently he's back because he's.
Rebellions are built on hope. Okay,
Yeah.
shoot her too.
Shoot her too. She's like, they're built on bones.
Shoot them all.
Luthen's so hardcore. They're
I
not built
love
on
that-
hope. They're built on bones.
I love that as we're working out Luthen's impression, it is as a slightly
Cassian
old
Andor.
Han.
Arr. That's not how rebellions work. Oh, you're cold. That's it. It's
That's
that,
so
and
good.
it's that, and my new
slipped in there.
impression of the dweeby corporate officer who turned into just. It was like a mix of when I was doing my intentional voice crack. It was a mix of Seinfeld and like Bobcat Goldthwait.
Right.
I don't know. John C. Riley.
It's that, and then I don't know. Kramer.
Off the rails. Love it.
Hey, Jerry.
rebelling.
Oh, I'm rebelling. Hey, Jerry, you know Luthen? Yeah, he works with Bob Sacamano down at the.
Like Buddy Bob Sacramento.
He's out there, baby. Yeah.
Honestly, though, that whole meetup scene was
Oh, I loved it.
the anchors
We
or whatever
love
that
this
were
show.
dropping
I'm
was
very
crazy.
excited.
Awesome. I don't know what it was.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
Andy got shot.
Excited.
He got shot.
Gosh.
He's fine.
He's
I
gonna
guess.
be. They're gonna help him.
I
Yeah.
would say after
gonna be
these
all right.
3 episodes, I have some.
think.
I have some Andor anticipations.
Intius.
Ooh.
I got some
Do you
Andor
have any
anticipations.
Andor assumptions?
Andor assumptions, but I think we're gonna get some Andor answers.
Answers.
Ooh, Andor answers.
And there's no if and or buts about
Oh man, just keeps
Andor
getting
asks?
better and or better.
it. Better and or worse. I love it.
There you go.
Nate, I said your name. That means you have to do something.
All
All
right.
right, take
That's
us
it.
take us home.
Alrighty. Thank you all for tuning in.
Hey, go, hey.
Yeah, I gotta get one.
Get 1 5, 1 5.
One episode, two episode premiere, 3 episodes. Okay. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it as always. Thank you for tuning in to Star Wars, guys. Yeah, I mean we're kicking it off now with Andor. It's Andor season. We're kicking it off. We're ready to do our deep dives.
Are we giving our stuff away, by the way?
Eventually.
Let's do that. Can
Let's
we
do
do
it.
it next
Do it
week?
someday.
Let's do it.
Can we just do it next week?
Yeah, sure.
He's like, no.
I don't care.
Let's get the 5,000. What happened to the 5,000?
I don't.
happened to 5,000?
Give it away. Yeah, give it away.
We don't have to. We could give.
No,
we
we'll
could
give
one
something
away.
away. Yeah, we'll give some stuff away next
Yeah.
week.
Let's do it.
Let's
I think
do it.
now that we're in Andor
Next
season,
week we'll throw out something,
Feel
a Funko
charitable.
Pop or something.
Yeah.
Phone case.
Ooh.
be here.
Ooh.
Are you saying that there are Star Wars phone cases out there?
Wait a minute.
Wait a second. Get a good zoom in on this, Nate. Oh wait, I can't control it from here. Okay,
Whoa.
there you go.
I got one too. Thank
We
you
all
very
rocking
much.
them.
Whoa.
The good people at Casetify.
Yes, Casefied.
Highest
Thank you.
quality cases.
Love this case. It fits so snugly. Like I've had other
Ooh.
cases.
It actually does. I know what you're
It's
talking
great.
about.
And
It's a
I'm
great
not
Can you
getting
see
paid
it
for
from
this.
here? Can you see
And
it?
I love the fact that the sides, it's rubbery. It's not
Yes.
plastic.
Yeah, it's
So I can
nice.
set it face down
You gotta love it.
and stare at that while I'm supposed to be working.
When the good people
awesome.
of
Let's give
Casetify
one away.
When the good people of
Let's give one of these
Casetify,
away.
Got some
Yeah.
extras that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we've got a couple extras. They've got some sparkles on it, but hey, we'll give
when
them
the
away.
Wow,
good
sparkles
people
are
of
good.
Casetify
Sparkles.
reached
It's Star
out,
Wars. It's free.
when the good people of Casetify reached out and said, "Hey, we've got some new Star Wars high quality phone cases that we'd like to send you. Are you interested?" It was the easiest yes of my entire life. I heard Star Wars. I heard good phone case. Am I interested? Very interested.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Send 'em
Easiest yes
over.
of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
And
we'll
I
give
just-
away.
I just
Look at
want
this.
to say that.
They're
Do
great.
you want a Luke Skywalker holding Grogu? Who
Whoa,
would
whoa,
listen?
whoa,
listen,
whoa,
who
whoa.
wouldn't want that?
Why are we
Show
giving
up
this
next
away?
week and we'll give some away.
Why are we giving this away?
That is true. Why? Oh well, we got
nice.
duplicates.
Oh, well, then we
Ooh,
should give them
nice.
away.
Another one.
Give 'em away.
Let's give away some of these Luke Skywalker Grogus. Why not? 2-in-1 package right
2
there.
and 1.
We'll give some away. So definitely tune in next week.
Are we gonna do it?
Yeah,
We're
why not?
We're
Yeah.
doing it.
If you made it this far in the podcast, tell you
We're
what,
doing
if
it.
you made it this far in the podcast, you're listening. Tune in next week and tell us, I made it this far.
Right.
Ooh.
And then
Ooh. We
we'll
should have a code word.
yeah, code word.
Code word is Grogu loves blue cookies.
The first person,
code
the
phrase.
first person.
Code
Should we do
Grogu
one?
loves
Yeah, we'll do
blue
one.
cookies.
The first person to comment, Grogu loves blue cookies in the next episode. If
Wins
you made
what?
it this far,
Say it. On the
wins.
spot. What do they win?
What do they want? If
They
they want a
want
phone
the-
Oh, they
case,
get to decide.
if you want a sparkly phone case, it's a Star Wars one, obviously.
the first one gets to pick.
You can pick. Do
Ooh,
you
I
want
like
that,
it.
or do you want a nice Funko? You can pick. We'll send it to you.
Grogu loves blue cookies.
There you go.
Or
Code
if you
word.
want Nate's shirt,
Ooh.
you can have it.
Actually,
just
it's
wanna
on
make sure
Amazon
that's
if you
If
want
you
it.
say
Oh, sure, you can.
Nate loves blue cookies, that won't get anything
You get
for you.
Nate's seat in the
But we'll
podcast.
love it. We'll acknowledge
Yeah.
that the brilliance of that.
There you
That's
go.
it.
There you go.
The
So there
first
you have it.
person, I will also say this: the first person to donate $1 million
Live.
will get to be. This is big. A guest host on the show.
Ooh,
man,
guess
we'll
what? You're
fly
gonna
'em-
take my spot.
We'll
Wait,
fly
what?
them
You take
here
my
from
spot?
wherever they are.
To
Um,
clarify though, the comment for the code word, got to be commenting live. You got to be on the
Gotta be
live show.
commenting
Yeah.
live.
It's not a comment on this particular
That's
video.
right. And
It's a comment on the
don't
live.
share that because your chances go down if everybody knows
Yeah.
it.
That's right.
Yeah. So there you have it.
I was
Thank-
kidding about the $1 million. You can't put a price on this.
There is no price.
There is no. We're talking.
We
Everybody has a
cannot-
price.
we
There's no
we
price.
can't be
cannot-
bought.
We cannot be bought at any
We
price.
cannot. We cannot be.
Or a phone case might do
We
it.
cannot be bought at any price. Just make sure that-
Turning
How
logos.
many- upset our sponsors.
Turning
how many
logos
sponsors
around.
do you guys have now? You got you got a couple, don't you? You got a few. You're doing something for HBO,
Something for HBO.
and you're doing something for somebody at some point.
Most of the things I do are for me these days.
Non-disclosures.
No, there's
Yeah, there's been some
non-disclosures.
stuff.
no, there's a number of things I've done
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
fun stuff for, but
But we want that on the podcast.
we want that on the podcast. We
So let's do it.
most of the stuff, and again, a lot of it's been writing. I do directly for Kathy.
This guy
I can't really divulge.
We can't even.
Just say your
Can't
name
disclose
starts with
everything.
a
finish
cat.
this podcast without going more off the rails.
We're gonna get.
Can I
Take it.
just say
Kathy's
again
gonna
how
come
big
on
of
and
a
say,
fan I am
"Ban
of
him."
Kathy Kennedy?
You can, and
Huge
I will
fan.
say I'm a
Huge
big fan as well.
Huge,
If you had one goal
huge,
for the
huge fan.
podcast, what would it be?
I claimed it that we would at one point have Kathleen Kennedy on this podcast, and I believe in miracles.
And here's the thing: have we ever seen her on a
she
podcast?
She hasn't said no.
I've never seen her.
She
on
has her
someone's
podcast. No.
She's got her own
Okay,
podcast. The Kathy Cast.
Every week she talks about She talks about her favorite
Every
Star
week she
Wars
pulls up-
creators to work with.
My goodness.
Every week she
Yeah.
pulls up an internet troll and just roasts them. And that's the
As I think about it, I can't think of a single scenario ever in my brain where Kathy Kennedy would be on this podcast.
No.
She's going to be on here
I will say, did you see
Imagine.
that?
sometime.
I know Nate,
someday.
you saw. You know we love us some Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson went on a
Yeah.
Star Wars podcast.
He did.
just this week, a couple days
Nice.
ago.
Was it Theory?
Uh,
You want a theory?
Yeah.
no, he,
He
did
would-
not go on there. He went on.
And
Not sure he would take that one.
He's
he
dead.
went on this.
They killed him.
They killed-
That was it.
Ryan is buried.
There's
No,
an investigation going
There's
on.
some good clips that came out from Ryan on the podcast talking about writing one of the character
Yeah.
arcs that he said he holds most dear
Was
is
this-
most invested in was his writing for Finn
Yeah.
on The Last Jedi.
Oh.
And he said that this is a little tangent, but we love Ryan Johnson. He
Yeah.
said when I
Yeah, we've only wrapped
when
it up
I
like
sat
4 times.
when
but
I
you're
sat
good.
down
Got
to
another
write
wrap up in there.
when I
somewhere.
sat down to write where Finn should go, he said, I thought that Finn had a great character arc in Force Awakens. But if people really, if you want to understand where I'm coming from with where I take Finn, Force Awakens, it's all about him getting away. He was a stormtrooper.
Getting
He
away.
was it's about breaking away from that and getting
Yeah.
out of that. But
And
he
he
doesn't
does.
end Force Awakens as a member of the rebellion. He's
Mm.
looking for Rey.
Right.
His whole thing of going to Starkiller Base is looking for Rey.
Yeah.
He's trying to get Rey. That's it. He said he
That's
even
all he cared
lies
about.
and he lies to Han
I'm
and
with
all
the
of them
resistance.
about like
I am with
I can get
the
us
resistance.
in. I can do this. I can do this. And then what'd you work?
Janitor.
It was janitor.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, well, we'll figure it out. But we got to find Rey, and that's the whole thing.
Yes, that's right.
But he said then the whole story arc was about, as we know, but it was about not running from something, but now
Becoming part of
actually
something.
being a part of something, and how it's big for someone like him
Not just
who was-
turning a blind eye to
who
what's
was
really going
part
on.
of
Right.
something so awful
Mm-hmm.
to now side with someone else.
And see
That
that
it's a
side
big
for what
step
it really
him.
was.
Being
That's
selfless.
what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, we've got the next 2 hours of this podcast will be all about Ryan Johnson
And,
and
Finn Deep
and
Dive.
Glass Onion.
Glass onion.
This is the Glass Onion cast.
That'd be great. Welcome.
No, I was bringing
Imagine.
that up where maybe we can't get Kathy.
But maybe we could
But people
get
have gotten Ryan.
the half.
People have gotten Ryan, and we're big fans of Ryan
Give
Johnson.
us
Huge.
JJ, too. I'll take them both.
I'll
I don't think.
If we could fit them in the schedule.
Maybe 5 years ago. But I mean,
That's true. They got a bad look.
Just kidding.
They
would
bring
I
us
take
down.
them both? If I
Absolutely.
have to, I'll take them both.
Absolutely.
If we have to
Oh,
squeeze
man.
George Lucas into the,
we have to. I don't
I'll
know if
make
we've got-
time.
We'll try.
I
Grogu
can't promise I have
loves
time for
blue
all
cookies.
3 of them to get good questions. Though.
I mean, how many times is George going to ask us to come out to Skywalker Ranch
We are
before we
adamant about
actually
this.
take him up on that
Yeah,
offer?
I know.
We're adamant about not preparing for our podcast,
And we mean it.
and we mean it.
That's true.
George can't.
George
force
would fit in great.
You want to read our closing
it.
statement?
Nate,
No,
No, there we go.
where can the people find us?
Listen, where can you find us? You can find us here on YouTube.
Oh, here
you
we
can
are.
find us audibly, find audio.
On a bully.
Out of bully.
Yeah. You can find the audio for the podcast
There
on
you
all
go.
of your favorite podcast streaming platforms. Spotify, iTunes, Google, all
Cassette Ender.
of them. Cassette Ender.
I was trying to work it.
No, yeah,
Cassette
he was
Ender.
working on it.
Yeah,
He
I
tried to fit it in.
tried.
No, but also if you want to engage with us on
People don't know what a
Instagram,
cassette is. They're
Yeah,
listening
no.
to our podcast.
you want to find us. You can find us on Instagram.
What's he talking
We
about?
post a lot of stuff on there, updates for the podcast, and yeah, we post a lot of things on there. Although we've been pretty good with our times lately, we've been pretty consistent. But if for whatever reason there's a cancellation or someone's sick, we can't do it. We
I
get
feel
updates
like
on there.
we've been really good with our times, but we have not been getting enough credit for how good we've been with our times.
Yeah, no.
I want more praise.
Where's all our credit?
More praise.
Where's the
More
praise? We gotta have praise. There's no praise.
Not praise, baby.
Uncle's
This is
Uncle's Jason Alexander
It's
/
fantastic.
Costanza impression is my new favorite
It's
thing on
so
the
good.
podcast. I
Yeah.
love it.
well, there
It's
you
way
have
better
it.
than my Bobcat Goldthwait.
This is just the first week of our Andor deep dive, and we're excited to dive in every
Yes.
episode until the show is over
oh,
from week to week.
not
So,
this show.
so next
Andor.
week,
Well,
if you guys
well.
are watching this back and you want to join in on the live conversation, we'd love to have you here. Watch Andor as soon as it comes out, and come tune in live Wednesday night when we
Briefly,
break it down.
as we're wrapping,
Finish.
I was laughing because we make our joke of beyond the paywall. I think Andor's taking care of that for us. We don't. There's a
No.
any salacious content that would be behind any paywall is an Andor.
It's already out there. That's exactly
It's
right.
an Andor already.
Brown chicken, brown
There you
cow
go.
from beginning to end. Right?
Chicken brown.
If you
Brown
have
chicken,
brown
brown
chicken,
cow.
brown cow. Yeah, okay. There you go.
Oh my
No
goodness.
church.
That is true. That is true. Anyway, there you have it. Thanks. This is like our 15th time wrapping up. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys
Oh,
are watching,
gosh.
make sure to drop the code phrase into the next.
Which was what
episode.
again? That
Something
was like
about-
a half hour ago.
I got it. Grogu loves blue cookies.
Grogu loves blue cookies. First
Wow.
person to comment live on our next podcast wins a free something.
Something.
You pick.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And there you have it. Let us know what you thought of Andor, your favorite moments, what you think of the show, what you're looking forward to in the season to come. So, with that said, thanks for tuning in. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Let's call it war.
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 I'm one with the Force. The
I-
Force is with me. I'm
That
one with
has
the
not
Force,
even
the Force is
happened
with
yet.
me.
That moment.
so glad.
But I love that Saw
My
gets
voice is always
Saw
going
gets so
out.
excited.
I love it.
Let's call it war. Like Saw, you're foaming at the
sound like
mouth, getting
Grievous.
excited for
Did
war.
you come here to kill me?
Bogalit. Bogalit. Saw, that's
Take a
your best
breath.
friend.
Whatever happened with
Saw, you've gone nuts.
You've
Your best
gone
friend's
way
a
too far,
mind
Saw.
reading